May 2021, during start of COVID, Shell and I purchased Moves Afoot, a Tiki Wharram 38, Wharram Tiki 38 catamaran. And as we've both been learning, we've released some very rough videos of our progress so far. So we're going to do a series of videos just to try and bring it all together and tidy it all up. I'm going to read from some notes, make it a little bit easier for me, and let's get started.
So we're going to do 3 videos. One of them is just going to be about our purchase of Moves Afoot. Guy's going to give us some background information on why he chose the Wharram Tiki, and then our second one will be what we've done internally in the boat so far and our plans going forward, and the third video will be on the external work so far and the plans going forward, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up with all the bits we do in between after that. There will be some repetitive nature because we have already released our, as Guy said, our rough mashups, so please excuse us as we learn. I have to admit, when Guy first told me about Moves Afoot, I was like, that's a lot different than my idea of what a catamaran was. So all the catamarans we had been on had been like tourist type catamarans. We went on one in Lombok. We had been on one in Queensland. Did we go on one over there? We've been on a couple, but they had all been charter cats. Is that what you call them? So when he first showed me pictures of Moves Afoot, I'm like, this is a campermaran. But the more I thought about it, that suited us more than anything that was big and boxy and flashy, because we're not big, boxy, flashy people. So I quite warmed to the idea. You know, after making him work for it, we went and had a look on the Swan. We met Dan, the then owner, and I was really quite taken by how simple it all was, and it felt like us almost instantly, that I could see Guy and I making some fantastic memories on this vessel, but most of all I could see what Guy could do with the vessel, being that he's a carpenter, so it's all wood, he's medium. Guy always works so well with wood and has fantastic ideas of how things could look, so I wasn't put off by the fact that it had been a few years since it had had some love. If anything, in mine and Guy's experience, you know, with buying houses, etc., the less that's done to something, you know, the easier it is to bring up to a standard for us. You know, the less we have to undo is always better. So I could see what he saw in the vessel. So I'll let him explain why he loved the boat so much.
All right. Why this Wharram? This one was available in Perth, WA, where we live, so it's a good one to go and have a look at. It just so happens to meet all our criteria as well. So I was after something that I could refit, that was in reasonable condition, but not in mint condition, as we wouldn't have been able to afford to purchase it. This was just a 20-year-old vessel. Structurally couldn't fault it. It was in need of coat of paint and a few other minor repairs. But there was no major beam rots or beam trough rots or hole penetrations or anything like that on the vessel, so that appealed to me. I suppose fair value is what someone's willing to pay, and I was willing to pay what our final negotiated price was, so I'm happy with it. Wharram Tiki 38 in particular, size-wise, it's a under 40 foot, which is what I was looking for. The intended use for the vessel was up around the West Australian coast and around Australia, those sorts of places, possibly over to New Zealand. So I wanted something that was beachable for repairs and robustness, I suppose. Something that didn't have sail drives or a shaft drive. So I didn't want anything that was potentially going to get caught up in groundings and stuff like that. Also potential leaks, anything that would bring the vessel into sort of being vulnerable. So along with that would be through hulls and things like that. So something that I could close off all the through hulls and blank them off was beneficial. And the transom hung rudder, so long as it was protected by that skeg, suits me as well. Other vessels, with kick-up rudders would also be suitable, but the Wharram sort of ticked the box. Being able to see all the insides, nothing's hidden by extra layers. No false panelling to make it look pretty. Only just what it needs, the bare bones, so to speak. You can see all your bulkheads. You can see everything that was potentially ever going to be a problem because it was there right in the face. So that's why I liked it. That's probably the main gist of it.
I suppose my next something that might be of interest is our timeline. So how would you describe our timeline to get it in the water? Because a lot of friends and that say...
I've got a lot of other projects on. This is a matter of this vessel was available, and I know it's hard to find one that's suitable. There's plenty available that have been done up. There's plenty available that are complete wrecks. I didn't want either. I didn't want to purchase something that was already complete and all done. That's not me. And there's plenty of vessels I can do that with. Also, same thing, I didn't want to be playing around with someone else's problems. So major rot, not knowing what the boat was made of in terms of plywood, overseas builders and stuff like that. You can't guarantee the quality of the materials used, no matter how pretty it looks. So that's what I liked. There was the certification stickers still on it from 20 years ago. Lloyd's stickered and individually numbered sheets of ply. It's rare, you don't get that nowadays. So that's some of the reasons.
So the timeline?
Oh, I got
about 2 years?
Right off on tangent here, eh? Okay, so no, back to where we were. What's the timeline? So the vessel was perfect, so we wanted to purchase it. So it suited what I needed. I'll get to the timeline. It suited what we needed, and I knew the rarity of finding the right boat at the right place. So even though we weren't ready for sailing the vessel straight away, it was too good to give up. We've got other house projects to finish. We've got work commitments. So basically another couple of years to run yet. Probably another good year before I get onto the boat full time working, whilst I clean up some other house commitments timeline wise. And then I've also got a year off in 2026, I think, off work. That's sort of a deadline to actually have it already in the water and sailing. So probably a year before that, 2025, 2024 maybe. So really only got 2 years to get it into the water, end of 2024. So when I got my time off, I can sail up around the West Australian coast and possibly around Australia if I can get someone to jump in with me. The wife's not too keen to go on big ocean voyages at the moment. Might be able to.
I'm not going.
Bring her around.
I'm not going.
Interim trips will be out to the Abrolhos Islands, Montebello's, Mackerel Islands, all up the West Australian coast. hopefully that'll persuade her a little bit, but we'll see how we go. That's the timeline. There's no hard and fast timelines. We've moved the boat up to our block in Toodyay. We've got a dome over it. There's really no hard and fast schedule. So when time permits at the moment.
So just to clarify, I get incredibly seasick. And we have had some test trips, and I'm definitely learning how to manage the seasickness, and I will definitely go on the fair weather sailing trips, and I'm seeing the North and Northwest Australian coast is just an opportunity I wouldn't miss, no matter how seasick I am. However, Guy is on his own when he circumnavigates Australia. I might do a couple of flights over east just to say hi, but he's definitely doing that one without a cook. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a little overview of why we purchased the Wharram, and we'll fill in some gaps as we go along with this video. Hopefully we're not too rough and we think we're getting better at it. It wasn't our intention to produce a YouTube channel, more hello baby, more to diarise what we're doing and why we're doing it for ourselves and our friends, but we have had people subscribe and a lot of interest, and everyone's been very supportive and inquisitive, so we'll try our best to keep up.
Well, I'll keep up with building the boat.
Yeah,
I don't do the video editing.
And I'm very busy.
Many other things to do. Hey, babe.
Yes, ain't that the truth? Oh, yeah. Darling. I don't know if anyone wants to see Bonnie with her tongue down my throat. So after approximately 6 months of sitting in the Swan River, it was time to collect Moves afoot and take her up to the Two Rocks Marina, where the team there helped us haul her out, ready for her to come up on the block on Toodyay. So there was a little prep involved. Guy did some groundworks up near the shed and took a big chunk of the hill out with a rather impressive machine while I was away. Apparently no trees were hurt during the excavation, and I can't find any photographic evidence to prove otherwise. However, he got it all flat and ready. He had a trailer built and built some gantries to help lift the hulls off of the trailer onto the cradles. Moves afoot stayed at the boatyard for about 2 weeks while Guy worked on dismantling it, and we did have some help from family and friends, which always makes it easier. And what you can see here is the 12-metre dual axle trailer that Guy had made by a local trailer builder. It was done to Australian specifications so that we did not require an escort or any wide load or special permissions to use it on the road, so it was all at its limits. And we did 3 trips from Two Rocks, so 1 trip for each hull and then 1 trip for all the bits and pieces from the pod and anything that was hanging off the boat, and any tools that we used up there as well. So this is Moves afoot in its home under the dome with the 2 tonne of concrete each side in the drums. And that's the story of how Moves afoot came to be in Toodyay.